Hi, welcome back to another edition of the Coach's Corner. This game we're going to be talking about right now is Cardinals versus Rams. I mean, I think the Rams are playing complementary football again. You know, that defense with Aaron Donald, and then you have Jalen Ramsey on the edge. It's always pretty much playing good football all year, but finally I think the offense is kind of starting to figure it out a little bit. Goff kind of went through a period where he was turning the ball over a little bit, but, you know, credit to the Cardinals defense. They were able to really stop Kyler. I think that injury is still kind of bothering him a little bit. They were able to limit the amount of runs that Kyler was able to have. Additionally, I think when you look at the kind of complementary football that the Rams have been able to play, I think you're forced to look at the running game, and they have a three-headed monster there with you have Brown, you have Henderson, and then, you know, most recently Cam Akers has finally been showing kind of the talent that he displayed at Florida State. And additionally, with the Rams defense, they were able to kind of limit Hopkins. Now, he still had a fair amount of volume, but they weren't really able to give up or get the big play to Hopkins. And I mean, Jared Goff looked efficient. You know, that it's crazy to see how different Jared Goff looks when they're able to run the football, because then he's able to use play action. He's able to hit Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and the tight ends. And let's not forget about, Van Jefferson and some of those guys. So it's really, really interesting to see how well the Rams have been able to play. And they're really starting to run away with that division. And a few weeks ago, we were talking about how that might be one of the most competitive divisions in football because all the teams are seemingly, pretty good, but you're kind of starting to see that separation and kind of like the trends, who's on a downward trend and who's on an upward trend. And for sure, the Rams are on an upward trend.
Yeah, I think you made excellent points there, Coach. And, in your notes, you've got how Jared Goff played in that game. And I think the scariest part about the Rams is their weakness is Jared Goff. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that's holding them back. Is he playing efficient football? Very much so. We're seeing a lot of safe plays. But that makes me beg the question. We're not seeing the explosive offense that we saw the last 2-3 years in this offense that got into the Super Bowl. Is Sean McVay realizing the limitations of Jared Goff and kind of pulling on his leash a little bit? What do you think there?
I think that, like I said, this defense it's stout. I mean, it is a very stout defense. Anytime you have an interior defensive lineman that commands 2, sometimes 3 guys, blocking him, it really helps solidify, stopping the run, as well as, pushing the pocket. But also, if you have a lockdown guy like, Jalen Ramsey, who, last week I think that the refs were kind of picking on him a little bit because he's a physical football player. And I think that last week they were kind of not letting him play as much. But, anytime you have a guy that can basically push the pocket from a defensive line standpoint and stop the run and single up other edge rushers to make plays, and then you have a guy on the corner, at the corner position that can lock down the other team's best receiver, that defense might be able to carry him a little bit. And most importantly here, they've been able to run the football, and they've been going with the hot hand, like I said, and right now it's been Cam Akers. So I don't know if Goff needs to necessarily do it all. There is going to be a point in the playoffs, or maybe in these final weeks, where he's going to have to probably win a game for him. And so I can totally see your point there. Can he do that? Right now, I would say that confidence is a big thing in football and sports in general, but specifically football. If you're playing with confidence, it kind of helps. I don't want to say cover up some of the flaws, but you're not really thinking about the flaws. You're just kind of thinking about what's got me up to to this point, and it's just playing with confidence. And I think. And we've talked about this on the show before. It depends a lot on how much communication you have between play caller and quarterback. And I think that, with the years that Goff and McVay have been, coaching and, playing that relationship, that dynamic, I think they have found an understanding of what Goff wants to do, what he does well, and how McVay can really incorporate what he does well into the offense. Does it give you, a little bit of concern? Sure. But, I mean, I don't know. I think that the Rams are, a pretty good team right now.
Yeah, I definitely think that they're a good team as well. Like I said, I think that's just an interesting thing to look at is whenever I was really watching that Cardinals Rams game, like you said, I'm watching just like the not the aggressive nature of McVay, and it just kind of popped into my mind like, man, this isn't what kind of got him to be where he is. That this isn't the aggressive style that we're used to seeing from him. So obviously it worked, and they were able to beat the Cardinals. Wasn't an issue, but we're looking at could they do it again, right? Whenever they go against these high octane offenses, whenever you're going into a slugfest with the 49ers, fine. It's whenever you get, if you meet the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, do you trust Goff with the ball? And I think if you're a team and you can't say, yes, I trust my quarterback with the ball in a slugfest, personally, I don't think you have the right guy.
Yeah, I guess kind of like I said, they're going to have to lean on the running game and their defense. In your scenario, Super Bowl against the Chiefs, you're not going to be able to stop the Chiefs' offense, but can you slow it down? And also, can you run the ball to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field?
Excellent points.
And I know I get what you're saying. Like there might be a point. Like let's say scenario here, it's 28-24. You're down in the Super Bowl. You have a minute 53 left and, one timeout. Do you trust Jared Goff to go down and score the touchdown to win the game? I get what you're saying. And right now, I think the answer around the league would be, I don't know. Like, because he hasn't really been in that, scenario before. And if he has, it hasn't been in the Super Bowl. So granted, yeah, he has played in a Super Bowl, but he wasn't in that exact scenario.
Right.
Right. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, which again, I totally see why that's a cause for concern, but there's still.
Yeah, I think if you're not giving your quarterback opportunities to grow in those areas like that whenever he's pushed into that scenario, let's flash back to Jimmy G on the final drive for the 49ers, right? Not a scenario where Jimmy G was asked to push the ball or allowed to push the ball to Emmanuel Sanders down the field. Maybe an occasional shot once a game or so, but when that scenario brings itself up, can he execute? And now I'm questioning that about Jared Goff personally. So.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that Super Bowl that Kyle Shanahan he didn't stay aggressive enough when they had the lead. I think that he was just trying so hard. Okay, we have the lead. Let's chew the clock. And I think that McVay is in a way cut from the same cloth in that regard. Where, and interesting statistic here: when McVay is leading at halftime, he hasn't lost a game. Interesting enough, but it's because he when they have a lead, they like to run the football. And I just wonder if. And to your point, if they'd stay aggressive enough to go down and score, like let's flip the scenarios around. Like I just said, let's say you're in a 3-minute offense situation and you're up 28-24 against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and you're trying to grind the clock, but you need first downs. I agree with you. I just how aggressive would they stay? But if you think we got something wrong, don't be afraid to, drop a comment, a question in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out other content from the East West Football Network. Thank you.